And welcome back. You know, in the movie world, the award season is in full swing, and today we've got a really special guest. He's the author of the 2008 novel upon which the film Silver Linings Playbook is based. It's nominated for 8 Academy Awards. Welcome to the Kiosk Presents, Matthew Quick.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Oh, it's so exciting to have you. You know, the movie and the book are both amazing in their own special ways. The film, I mean, it's Bradley Cooper as we've never seen him before. Jennifer Lawrence is exploding all over the screen, and she's already won the SAG Award and the Golden Globe, and of course, Robert De Niro. Did you ever think, just not too many years back, as you were leaving a pretty steady job in teaching to write, that they would all lead to this?
You know, there's part of me that hoped. You know, that was the idea. You know, there was something deep inside that, you know, said that if you do this, good things will come. You know, I like the phrase, leap and the net will appear. And that's really what I did. And it's been quite rewarding.
Well, and so inspiring. I know you do a lot of speaking to students and things like that. It's got to be so encouraging to them.
Yeah, I mean, the best part of all of this, to be honest, is that, you know, I taught high school English, and I encouraged my kids to write, my students, and I told them that they could pursue the arts, and a lot of them are struggling to write, a lot of them are actors, and they write me emails, and they said, you know, they called me Q, they said, Q, you told us to do this, but now you're doing it, and that's very heartening, and, you know, you see that we need people to inspire others to create art, because we need art. It's a very important part of our culture and society.
Oh, absolutely. Now, for those out there that are just kind of getting in sync with the Academy season in the films, can you briefly tell us the story of the novel and the film?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the novel is about a man who thinks his life is a movie produced by God, and if he becomes physically fit and practices being kind rather than right and puts his life back together, he thinks that God will return his estranged wife to him. The movie takes a little bit of a different angle, and it's about, you know, Pat has just got out of a mental institution, and he comes back to Philadelphia, and he's trying to put his life together. The same rhythm of you know, wanting to get back with his wife is there.
Well, you know, so much is being made of mental illness these days and everything else. I mean, obviously, you know, I loved how you handled that from the first person perspective in the novel. And of course, the devastating effect on the families. I mean, you had kind of a personal connection with this topic. You had worked with some children, and you even had your own experiences. You got into the writing process, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. My first job out of undergraduate school was I worked with teenagers diagnosed with severe autism, and I worked in a neural health lockdown unit at night with a lot of people who had been affected with traumatic brain injury and other neural problems. I also counseled troubled teens for several years, and I'm quite open about the fact that, you know, I've struggled with depression and anxiety as well. I hid that for a long time. I didn't admit that, and, you know, writing Pat's story in some ways was a coming out for me. You know, admitting that, you know, I do struggle with certain things, and the great thing about that is that when you talk about this stuff and you put it out, so many other people come back and say, hey, me too, you're not alone. And so that's been a really great byproduct of all of this.
Well, and how fascinating must it have been to see David O. Russell, the director and screenwriter, kind of interpret what you did, because he had some personal connections along those lines as well.
Yeah, the project was very personal to David. He talks about, you know, how he wanted to make this movie so that his son could feel like part of the world. And his son Matthew is the kid in the movie who rings the doorbell and asks to interview Bradley Cooper about bipolar disorder. And so he was actually in the film. And so it was a very personal project for David. I know mental health awareness is just as important to him as it is to me. And you know, we're very grateful that people are finding the book and the film and are telling us that it helps.
Well, you know, and the film, I mean, there is so much poignance to it. But it's also really, there's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining. And I got to say, I mean, we're here in Buffalo. We're big Buffalo Bills fans, and we feel for the people in Philadelphia. You know, all those years without a Super Bowl, you've been there once, multiply that by 4, and you've got Buffalo.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, I think we're a lot alike in that way. And the great thing is I went around the country, you know, watching this film and talking to different audiences. You just see how universal all of this stuff is. And my biggest fear was when I went to Dallas and we did a screening in Dallas. I thought everyone in Dallas would hate the film. But they just said, just swap out the jerseys. It's the same story. If they were wearing blue and stars, it would be our story. And so it's proven quite universal.
No, very true. I think everybody can connect that way. And of course, we connect too. I mean, in your book, you talk a lot about T.O. We had to spend a year with him ourselves.
Yeah, so we have that experience in common as well.
Exactly. Well, and there's a couple of scenes, or I should say chapters in the book or pieces of the book that, you always wish you could see in the film, when Dr. Cliff explains kind of why so many of the novels that Pat is reading, don't necessarily end with a silver lining. I thought that was a wonderful part of the book.
Thank you so much. When I taught American Lit, all of the books were pretty heavy, and I got a phone call one day from a parent who was concerned that their student was, dealing with depression, and every day we're talking about these heavy subjects, and I really started to think, why isn't there more literature with, a lighter touch or with happy endings? And so I had to struggle to find that answer.
Yeah. Well, Matthew, thank you so much for joining us today. I wish you all the success in the world with the upcoming Academy Awards and for your future novels. I know you've got some things coming up, so thanks once again for joining us here on The Kiosk Presents.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.